What is up, book nerds? We are doing an I predict the Carolina Panthers season. I know this team may not be the most fun team, but their season has some interesting highs and lows. Quite a lot of lows, but I'm sure you expected that. Enough of me yapping, let's hop into this. Now we got the Carolina Panthers Week 1 game against the New Orleans Saints. Most of you would know this if you see my New Orleans Saints video. Derek Carr outperforms Bryce Young. I feel like this is Bryce Young's best season. Of course, that's not really saying much. But he does have a pretty alright game. But just not enough to do anything against the Saints. It's a pretty miserable game. Bryce Young has a couple good throws. Nothing above average. Now we got the Panthers getting a Mickey Mouse victory over the Los Angeles Chargers. This is not impressive by any means. Maybe you throw in a bad call here and there. Justin Herbert underperforms. Quentin Johnson is a bum for the game. John Harbaugh is not able to establish a run game for whatever reason. And Bryce Young is just able to do enough to get the win. It's not a pretty win. It's barely a win, but they get the win. Now we have the Panthers promptly losing to the Vegas Raiders. Gardner Minshew makes a fool out of Bryce Young. Panthers defense is not able to stop the Raiders with Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers. Gardner Minshew has his moments. And the Panthers' Pantherness shows. Now we have the Panthers promptly getting blown out by the Bengals. Joe Burrow wakes up from his 3-game slumber. I don't even know if he's going to have one this season, but even say he does, he promptly wakes up from it and blows the living crap out of the Panthers. Please don't demonetize me for that. But yeah, the Bengals make a fool's errand out of the Panthers. They tear them to shreds. I mean, they're better in almost all aspects, and it's a nightmare for any Carolina fan. Now we have the Panthers responding from their blowout by beating the team that fleeced them into their situation they are in now. They beat the Bears 30-28. This game is way more high scoring than it should be. The Panthers, they don't got enough. What do they got? Adam Thielen, he does pretty well. Bryce Young shows glimmers. He and Caleb Williams go head to head. The Bears defense just falls flat. Carolina, in most respects, should not win this game, but I'll have them doing it. They already have equated their win amount of last season, and it's already week 5. So they could lose out, and this is already considered a pretty good season for them. And on the Bears side of the ball, their defense just craps the bed. Everything else plays pretty well. And they go from an impressive win to an unimpressive win, this time against a lowly 0-6 Atlanta Falcons. If that makes no sense, watch the Atlanta Falcons video. This is a crazy game in most respects, in the fact that it is not crazy at all. It is incredibly boring. Probably the worst game of the entire year. The Falcons completely fall apart, and the Panthers crap the bed. They're able to just get a field goal. And the Panthers go 3 in a row. They've already doubled last season's win total, and they're not even at the halfway point of the season. They beat a comparable Washington Commanders squad. Neither team is that impressive. They put up a pretty basic score, 21-16. Gave the Panthers a safety against Bryce Young to give it a little more flair. Other than that, neither team does anything spectacular. Carolina just does enough to win the game. And the Panthers' 3-game winning streak comes to an end with a big loss to the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix shows up to show out, and whoever the heck else they have in Denver. They got Bo Nix, Patrick Surtain. Who else do they have? Like Sean Payton as the coach. If you can name a Broncos player in the description that is not one of those that I've just mentioned, you have my respect. Because I cannot name anybody else in that team. But they're doing enough to beat a Panthers team that's already surpassed all expectations. So the Panthers lose. And now the Panthers fall below 500 in a close loss to the New Orleans Saints. They get swept, and they play an all right game. Bryce Young plays all right. The defense does okay, but not good enough. J.C. Horn gets a nice Derek Carr pick. I think he'd at least get one really nice Derek Carr pick on each of these games. I think he's a heavily underrated cornerback. I think that's all I really have to say, so let's hop into the next game. Now the Panthers, again, narrowly lose to the New York Giants. Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, whoever my Giants got at this point, they do just enough to outplay Bryce Young and that defense. Again, Jason Horn gets a nice pick in. He has a pretty good season considering all things. Bryce Young plays okay, but it's another loss. Okay, now I got the Panthers getting blown out 63-15 against the Chiefs. This is a huge blowout. Basically, it seems heavily unrealistic, but the best team versus one of the worst teams. I don't even know how close to make this. I could see the Chiefs dropping 50. I mean, the Panthers get blown out by the Chiefs starters for the first half, and then the Panthers proceed to get blown out by the Chiefs backups in the second half. I mean, their team just does not do anything. They get 15 points off of pity. They just get curb stomped. Now we have the Panthers falling to 4-8. This isn't an ideal situation for any team, but they've accomplished a lot this season, and I think it's fair to say their season is effectively over for the playoffs. But in their game against the Bucs, their one silver lining is Jason Horn does get a good pick against Baker Mayfield, and the Panthers give a pretty good show against the Bucs, and play out the rest of the season in hopes of getting a good pick and hopes to better their team for next season. Now, the Panthers have a very similar situation to the Chiefs game. They get kicked the crap out of by the Eagles starters and then by their backups. So they get blown out 51-13. This, very similar to the Chiefs game, defies all logic and good sportsmanship. But the Panthers are just so vastly inferior. I just had to do it. Hey, we got back-to-back NFC blowouts. Same story, different team. 40-3 loss to the Dallas Cowboys. At this point, the Panthers are on full-blown tank mode. They've fully given up on this season, and this game they kind of keep close against the Cardinals, but still lose and fall to 4-11. Now they have another blowout loss. This one's probably the least egregious of the bunch. This one's to the Bucs. Bucs are vying for the NFC South and a playoff berth. Panthers are vying for a pick. They lose 28-3. You know I had to do it to you Falcons fans watching. I don't hate you. It's just a little ridiculous. You blew a 28-3 lead. And we end with a Panthers loss to the Atlanta Falcons 39-30. The Falcons are just pissed and getting a win for some self-respect. That is all, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified when I upload next. And please use the affiliate link if you plan to buy anything on Amazon. It helps me out a lot. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.